Hey everybody, it's Lindsay and I'm here today to share with you how you can add some texture and dimension to your cards with die cuts. My card today is for the new challenge over at DigiStamps for Joy. As always, it is an anything goes challenge, but the optional twist for this month is to add die cuts. So when I was making my card, it was a very CIS card. That's my style, that's just what I do. But I wanted to add some dimension in a new way and also add some texture to this card. So I did that with my die cuts. So what I first did to start this card, I always start my digital stamps and Photoshop elements, and I printed this off onto a 4x4 panel with crop marks so I could trim it out. This is the Cottage Teapot digital stamp, and I will leave a link down to the shop below if you want to pick up this stamp. But I just printed this off with my laser printer, trimmed it out with my paper trimmer, and then I'm just coloring it in with my alcohol markers. You could color this in any way you wanted to. I wanted a more vintage feel, so I'm going with very muted colors. And then I also wanted to go ahead and add some grass beneath, and I'm just using my markers to do that. I'm not drawing any lines or anything on this image. And to add a sky, I'm just coming in with some blue, and I will blend this out with some gray just to tone this down a little bit for a more vintage feel. And also I'm coming up straight with that blue marker, and then I'm going to come in sideways with that gray marker, and that just really helps me blend out those lines. And there you can see that image is completely colored. Now to add some texture, I am going to add texture with felt. I use the cheap felt you can find at your craft store. It die cuts beautifully. I don't have any problem with it, but I'm just using some cloud dies to cut this. I just run it through once, run it back through, and you can see I can pick up my dies, pick up that extra, and there I've got two very clean cut clouds ready to go on my card. Now to add the dimension, I'm doing that with my sentiment. What I will do is I'm cutting this hello die. This is from Paper Tray ink. I'm just cutting it from white cardstock, but I ended up cutting it 5 times. All I'm doing now is using glossy accents, and I will stack these one on top of the other and glue them together. And this is going to create almost a faux chipboard, but it's made from cardstock. And you could do this with any die cut you have. If you wanted to do the dimension with the clouds, you could go ahead and stack these up as well and do it that way. But I wanted my sentiment to be very pronounced, so I went ahead and did that. Now to put this card together is very simple. I just put some fun foam on the back of that colored panel with some double-sided adhesive. I've got adhesive on the other side as well, and I will glue this onto a 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 top folding white card base that I made myself. Now these clouds, they are felt. However, I found that I could stick them down very easily with some double-sided adhesive that's foam. All you want to do is make sure that you give it a good press to make sure it's firmly attached. And I can just peel the backing paper off of this, and I'm going to place these on either side of the Cottage Teapot stamp that I used. So this is just really going to bring interest right to that main focal point that I colored. Just because it's textured too, it almost makes you want to touch them to see if they're really as textured as they look. It doesn't pick it up in the video as well as it does in real life, but it adds so much to the card and really brings it into that focal point. And this die cut also brings it right into that focal point where I spent so much time coloring that image. It just brings the eye right to it. And I am gluing this down with glossy accents. It's the best thing I found to hold this down in place. Just make sure if it squirts out on the sides, you will have a bit of gloss on your card. I wanted to add a little bit of shine. I didn't want to take anything away with sequins, so I did just color this hello die over with some Winkostella. I put a few layers on, and that finished off the card. But again, just these die cuts, simply stacking them up and using felt instead of paper, really adds so much to the card. And I hope you too will try to add some texture and dimensions with die cuts on your card for this challenge. As always, I will leave you with just a few pictures. For more information and the supply list, you can head over to my blog, craftingwhilecaffeinated.wordpress.com. The link is in the description box below, as well as that I in the top right hand corner. That will get you there too. I will also leave a link over to the DigiStamps for Joy Challenge. If you want to link up a card of your own, you have until July 31st to do so. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and happy crafting.